Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we are talking about the aims and results of policies, domestic political policies. Just as a refresher, aims is the overall goal of the policy. Results is the outcome, consequence, or the effect. Domestic is existing or anything inside a particular country, like Nazi Germany, not foreign or international. Now lastly, political. Political means it is relating to the idea or strategies of a particular party or groups in politics. Now, the examples that we're going to go over today is very interesting because of these, you know, 3 of the 4 examples we already are going to talk about. So in today's video, rather than reteach or re-dig into the examples, we're going to talk a little bit more about why they are domestic political policies and what that means. So for this example, for this section, these are the 4 examples you're going to want to talk about. The Enabling Act, the Gleichschaltung, the Reich Press Law, and the Nuremberg Race Laws. We're going to talk about these 4. These are the 4 you're going to use for this section. So why? Why are you going to use these domestic political policies? Well, the Enabling Act. The Enabling Act politically and legally gave Hitler the power to do what he needed to do, right? So this policy that the Germans, the Nazi Party specifically creates, is essentially giving Hitler all the power. Did he achieve that? Well, considering that was his goal. Did he achieve that? Well, considering the following laws that he passed, there is a clear indication that this Enabling Act was successful. And the result of it was that it gave Hitler the ability for gave Hitler the ability for complete control, complete control to pass any political policy he wanted, right? The Enabling Act gave Hitler the ability to pass any political law he wanted. So the aim of this was for him to get all political power. The result, it's exactly what he got. And the only reason why we know that is because the result of that policy was the passing of the Gleichschaltung. Now, this policy, the aim of it was to eliminate all political parties, to eliminate anyone who opposed Hitler, to eliminate every other political challenge that Hitler could face, and ensure that he could keep all of that power. So that was the goal. What was the result? Well, as you can see by this picture, by 1936, in reality by 1935, Hitler was able to outlaw almost every other political party in Germany that did not fall into or did not join the Nazi Party. So like the SDP, for instance, they joined the Nazi Party as a political movement. So they were absorbed into it. So it became the Nazi SDP movement. So Hitler was able to outlaw anyone who stood against him and outlaw every political party. So that means if there are no more political parties, can anyone challenge him? No. So the aim was for him to have no more challengers and to make every other political party illegal. The result, he was able to pull it off. He did that. Mission accomplished. Boom. Check mark. Done. And then another result of the Enabling Act, right? Another result of this act was the Reich Press Law. As we remember, the aim of the Reich Press Law was so that all publications fall into what the Nazi Party and the Nazi government, Nazi Germany, wanted. So the result of this was the fact that if you were Jewish, you were fired or you were outlawed. If there was any Jewish magazines, they were outlawed. And by 1944, the Nazi government had over 80% control over the newspapers and other posters and propaganda. So, the aim was to gain complete control of the press, to suppress them. Was that achieved? Yeah, for the most part. I mean, not entirely, but you how much can you expect something to be as absolute? Which is hard considering that the Gleichschaltung was absolute. So we have a result here that is similar to the Gleichschaltung, but not permanent. And the Reich Press Law is something that it gets a little debated on how far you want to go with the results and the policies, right? Did any newspaper that you could pick up as a German citizen have an official Nazi message? Yeah. Does it mean it's controlled by the Nazi government? Doesn't inherently mean it. More than likely it is. There's an 86 or 83% chance that it was. But it's up for you to argue or to debate. Now, another part of the Enabling Act is the Nuremberg Race Laws. The Nuremberg Race Laws, as you have learned in the treatment of minorities, is a law specifically dedicated in outlawing interracial marriage, a law dedicated to the segregation and separation of Jews, Romani, blacks, Freemasons, and many other groups. The aim of this was to purify German blood. The aim of this was to purify German interaction. And this is where it gets kind of a dangerous territory is, does the Holocaust, as the result of the race laws, prove that this policy was effective? And to an extent, yeah, he did successfully segregate these minorities enough to start systematically killing them. So the result of this is a little gray and challenging to the mind for us to unfortunately have to think of it from a political component rather than a human or a minority perspective. So each of these all stem from the Enabling Act. So the results of the Enabling Act was for Hitler to assume or to get major control. Well, the Gleichschaltung made it impossible for anyone to run against him. The Reich Press Law made it impossible for newspapers to talk bad about him. And the Nuremberg Race Law was successful in him separating communities, separating the people, so no one big group could stand against him. So was the result of the Enabling Act through these other examples and their results and their impacts show that the aim of the Enabling Act was met, right? Was the aim of the Gleichschaltung met? Was the aim of the Reich Press Law met? Was the aim of the Nuremberg Race Law met? And it's a very interesting dynamic here. Now, for some context as to why you need to know them in this order, is because the Enabling Act was passed in 1933, the Gleichschaltung in 1933, the Reich Press Law 1934, the Nuremberg Race Law 1935. So this stems down over the next 2 years as a part of this overall example of domestic political policies.